Technical difficulty? I don't know. This is Doug Crow with Cocktails and Conversations. And I have got a guest on today that literally saved my life. You know, I love talking about my favorite topics, you know, sex, politics, religion. Okay, 5 topics. Sex, politics, religion, marketing, and books. Oh, no, 6. Because health and now fitness and longevity are actually the top of my list, more than religion. Not sure about the other 2. Anyway, my guest today has a book coming out, but he's got way more than a book coming out. He has got a system and a way to basically extend your life. No joke. Be happier, healthier, have more vitality. I call him the magician because if you've seen some of the pictures on my Facebook wall or things before on my Instagram, you've seen that, like, what he used to call me, like Marshmallow Man or something. And I've changed my body. But more importantly, I've changed my outlook on life and my perspective on longevity. So without further ado, my good friend, Sky Dufaux. Sky, how are you today?
Doug, I'm doing great. It's so good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you. So my friend, you are probably one of the sharpest scientists I've ever met in my life. And I'm going to call you a scientist. I know you may not have a degree or something like that in science, but good Lord, man, you know more about the human body and chemicals and genetics than anybody I've met in my life. Tell me a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into the cool stuff.
Oh, well, in my background, let's see. I grew up on a 13,000-acre ranch in northern New Mexico.
No, hold on a second. Your name is Sky Dufaux.
Yeah.
So let's talk. I think you told me it was a commune, right? With a name
no,
like Sky. Come on, your parents must have been high as kites when they named you or something.
Yeah,
Sky.
they were. They were total hippies. They got married in a park in Houston.
Nice. That's beautiful. I love that. Nature.
Yeah, and then they went skinny dipping afterward in the lake.
9 months later, there you are. I love it.
Yeah, there I am.
All right. So, okay, you grew up on a big-ass ranch. You're an outdoors guy, right? Tell me about that.
What?
You say you grew up on a ranch. I was joking about the commune, but you started something. I interrupted you.
Oh yeah. I just grew up in remote reaches of northern New Mexico with nothing more to do, nothing to do. I didn't have any neighbors hardly except ride my dirt bike and shoot my BB gun and investigate what was around me and read books.
Okay.
And so I became, what's basically an autodidact. I just was voraciously curious about the natural world, about how things worked, and started figuring it out.
Yeah. Okay. Figuring it out. All right. And then But your formal education is in something else, right? What'd you study again? I forgot. I'm sorry.
Oh, I studied environmental science.
Environmental science. Okay, because you're
outdoors.
outdoors.
And then I did city planning.
Okay. And how did you get into the field of longevity and anti-aging and all that jazz?
Yeah. Well, I decided that I didn't want to die old and decrepit. Like Jack LaLanne, for example, the fitness icon. Yeah. Who brought fitness to the U.S. and he's famous for doing some sort of amazing feat every 10 years on the decade anniversary of his birth, so 50, 60, 70, and he swam like 3 hours a day, ate only white fish and spinach. But you see pictures of him by the time he's 80, and he's a husk. And this is a guy who's working out 4 hours a day,
right?
And performed all these amazing feats like towing barges while handcuffed to Alcatraz and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you look at this guy and you say, what happened between 70 and 80? And because he's just withered away. Right. And what happened was his juices just flatlined. I mean, if you look at testosterone decline, hormone decline, in men, I mean, it really picks up speed in your 60s and 70s.
Right.
And so Sylvester Stallone is a good example of someone who didn't let that happen.
That's right. Oh my God, I saw that. I saw the last Rambo movie. How old is he?
He's in his mid-70s.
Good Lord, the man looks as jacked as he was 20 years ago.
Or better.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So I want to be Sylvester Stallone, not Jack LaLanne.
I think you're well on your way. How old are you? Yeah. Guys can ask this question.
I'm 48. Yeah.
What are you?
Almost 48.
Almost 48, and you look like not a day over 47. Just kidding. You're like late 30s, of course. That's amazing. Okay, so you had you saw Jack LaLanne go downhill. That's fine. And then what did you actually do? Because when I met you, was it a year and a half ago or so? I mean, our conversation at this anti-aging conference was nothing short of me going back to school. I mean, every third word I had to go look up from when we were having conversation. So you got deep into this science of longevity just out of pure curiosity?
Well, I didn't want to die old and decrepit.
Yeah.
I didn't want to die normally. Like, I think the revelation that I had was I started breaking the aging trance on my own. Right? I started saying, I'm not going to be like everybody else. I don't want to go down without a fight. Right? I realized that if I'm able to maintain my longevity, for even my health and vitality for even 10 years longer, right? Not only would I have 10 more years, but I could have 10 more years to fulfill my dreams, to build wealth, to do all kinds of things, rather than entering into a gradual decline, which I implicitly accepted because I didn't do anything about it. I just trusted doctors like everybody else to say, oh, my health is taken care of. I've got insurance. I'm good. I decided that natural decline, which doctors won't help you with, wasn't going to be my future. And so I started investigating alternatives. Yeah. The first thing that I found was that I thought was a real magic bullet was growth hormone.
Right.
And I actually got into that because of a boxing match.
Oh, tell me about that. I don't know about that. I don't know that story.
Oh, you don't know that story?
No, no, you're a boxer.
So I was at the age of 39, I was at a Halloween party with one of my best friends.
Boxing at a Halloween party. This is going to be a good story already.
He was in like a robot suit, and I heard him clanking around, kind of yelling drunk.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots with Sky Dufaux. This is another chapter. We missed this chapter in the book. I'm sorry to interrupt. That's just too funny. Go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, he was like, hey, why won't anyone fight me? And I'm like, dude, it's not the right place, man. We're getting high and drunk here. Everything's good. Why we got to go there? He was like, I need another man to challenge me so that I'll be motivated to become my best self. I was like,
okay, Thor, awesome. Got it.
Because he's turning 42, right? So we're both about to turn 40.
Yeah.
And I said, all right, let's do it. Let's do an exhibition match. We'll both go find trainers, and we'll do this thing.
In what period of time did you make the challenge to the match? How much time did you train?
Well, we trained for 6 months, and we never had the match.
Wow.
Because I outsize him and outreach him by a good 5-6 inches in height and probably about an 8 or 9 inch reach, and I weigh him by about 30 or 40 pounds.
Yeah, you said you're almost 6'5", you're 6'4", something like that. How tall are you?
Yeah, 6'5".
Yeah, you're giant. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and so basically our trainers said, you can't fight each other because he'll kill you. It was one thing when you're a total amateur.
You will die.
Another thing when I'm crushing it in the gym, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that experience really pushed me to my limits and beyond them.
You're like, find me a suitable opponent. This little boy can't match me. I don't need him. I need somebody who's 6'6". Where's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? He's got long reach.
To his credit, he still wanted to fight, but it was the trainers that said no way.
Yeah.
They said you'll never get an exhibition match approved between the two of you, so don't hurt your friend.
That would not be nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And at that point, I realized I could, so I stopped.
Okay, but this is part of the past. Okay.
It was like really pushing myself, and I got results because I started seeing a longevity doctor. Like the first few months, like nothing was happening. Like I wasn't recovering well. I was not impressing anybody in the gym, right? And I told my friend, I was like, hey, I'm going to go on testosterone replacement therapy because I found out my testosterone is critically low. I was like, that's going to be an advantage for me, but I got to do it because I'm making no progress on my testosterone is super low. He's like, no worries, whatever. I also got into growth hormone at that time. And I saw amazing results from it, not just in my recovery, sexual vitality and stamina, but also in my skin and hair and everything. So it was a revelation. But at the same time, I was like, wow, this is really expensive.
That's right, it is.
Real growth hormone. So I started looking for other options, and I started finding that there were this kind of molecule called a peptide, which causes your body to naturally release growth hormone. And so, I mean, and the research on that was extensive because there's, dozens of different kinds of peptides that release growth hormone, and I wanted to find the right one, the right mix of peptides. And so I started getting into primary research at that time, looking at the National Medical Institutes of Health database and reading all this primary research. And I found that all my background in molecular biology and things I'd studied in college was sufficient for me to understand complex research. And so once I got on the peptides and started seeing results, I started looking deeper and saying, well, this is a great place to start. What else is there? And so then I started, decoding, I guess you could say, like looking at each system in the body one at a time and saying, well, what are the supplements and pharmaceuticals that can really make a difference in vitality and longevity? And so I created what I call a stack, which is a unique protocol of peptide, hormone replacement therapy, pharmaceuticals, and then supplements. And so I started taking this stack and I started seeing great results. And then I started investigating precision medicine, which is genetics. So basically tailoring your supplements and pharmaceuticals and lifestyle, even diet and exercise choices, to your genetics.
This is fascinating.
That was a real turning point for me in what I found out about myself, which was like amazing. And then how I was able to kind of put that into practice and adjust my stack to be kind of a perfect fit for me. And then I really saw results.
Yeah. Can you give me some examples of those phases of like what you were, I mean, when I met you, my nickname for you is Captain America because you've got this, perfect V wedge and chisel face. You're like, you're Hollywood. But you weren't like that before or what? What'd you look like? I don't have any before pictures of you.
Oh, well, I mean, I was a size 40. When I was like 35, I was a size 44 waist.
Yeah. Oh.
And about 240 pounds.
Okay.
Now I'm a size 36 waist and 260 pounds. So, and I look the same or better younger than I did 7, 8 years ago. I was just looking at old photographs because it's my wife and I's like 7th anniversary coming up. So I was looking at photographs of us when we first got together today.
Right.
I'm like, we both look better. Like, that's crazy. That was 7 years ago, but we look better than we did.
Right.
So that's remarkable. Yeah. And I mean, I started doing this just for myself and my wife. My wife had some neurological imbalances and also some issues with toxic metals in her system.
Okay.
And so I looked into her genetics and did a bunch of testing on her and was able to optimize her stack as well. So like once the two of us were taken care of, I mean, actually, like how I got into doing this for others was I just went and visited a friend I hadn't seen in 5 years. And when I last talked to him, I had just been getting into this research. And, I went out and visited him. He said, holy shit, dude, you look better than you did when I met you. This is crazy. It's like, you got to share this with me. He's 54.
Yep.
And so, I started sending him my stack, just, free of charge at first. Just like, hey, here, have a month, enjoy. And then he's like, the results are insane. Like he said, it was like sci-fi shit. And so that's how my business took off. I started off with one friend who wanted to be like me because he saw the results I was getting. And then he started sharing it out. He ran a modeling agency, so my first clients were models.
Nice.
Which is funny. They're all in their early 20s. Everyone's like, what do they need longevity for? But he's like, yeah, they're like athletes. They got to fly around the world, and they got to be at their best. And so in his mind, because he was making money on the models, he was actually paying for their stack because what he saw was when they were on set and on camera that they would be way more effective. So he gave his top models all this, got them on my program.
Nice. Okay. That's beautiful.
It's been pretty small scale. Like I'm not looking to grow dramatically. I really like working on an individualized basis with my clients and helping each individual reach their maximum potential. Right? I'm a maximizer. I believe in human potential. And I think that it's a shame that we just let ourselves go just because we're hooked on dying. We're hooked on this, what I call the aging trance.
Aging trance. I love that. Just full transparency. Sky and I are working on this book together, right? So I had the opportunity to not only, interview him extensively about this topic, folks, but I'm also a customer, right? So we can talk about that in a second. But when we talked of all the chapters that I could understand as we're going through this stuff, the one that really turned me around was the one on our mindset. I know it sounds fluffy, like, oh yeah, your mindset. And I keep going back to the point of when we were talking about the aging process and the aging trance, whatnot, and you looked at stuff, and I'll just say this, and I want your commentary on it because I don't know how to ask the question of it, but I was like, man, everybody thinks, oh, you know, my dad got old at 75 or 80, my mom got old at 80. That's what's going to happen to me. We look at the past to predict our future. And when you and I were speaking, it's like, no, I look to the future to predict my future, basically. Can you comment on that a little bit?
I really like that. I look to the future to predict my future.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I just made that up. We can use it in the book.
Right? So this is really good. Yeah, you got to make a book on that.
No, you can put it in your book, dude. Yeah, put it in yours.
But like, so the rate of change, right, itself has a rate of change, right? So everything is changing faster and faster. And we as human beings, we're not good at projecting things that aren't linear. Like, we came from a time, you know, when everything was the same every day. Nothing really changed. So we're not good at predicting exponential growth curves and things, right? And for me, I want to live long enough to have the chance to live forever. I mean, I know that sounds like totally crazy and radical, but if you're where I am, you're at the front lines of research and reading about what the breakthroughs are, and they're coming every day almost. You know, you will find out that the scientific understanding of the cellular mechanisms behind aging are advancing extremely rapidly. Still years until there are therapies, but what you want to do is you want to slow your aging so that when regenerative therapies, you know, that actually reverse your aging,
right?
You want to slow your aging so that when you're at that point, so that when the technology is at that point when you can have regenerative medicine that'll rebuild your brain or your arteries, you know, or give you your cells, let them live 20%, 30% longer, you still want to be young and vital at that point, because otherwise maybe too much damage is accumulated in your body to fix.
Right.
So it's the classic, like, let's slow down the decline. At the same time, let's increase the vitality. I'm really keen on that. Like, I don't really like the term anti-aging.
Me too. I hate anti-anything. It's a horrible word. I apologize for using it early. You know, it was an old Mother Teresa quote. Won't go to a anti-war rally. I'll attend a pro-peace rally all day long, because our subconscious brain actually picks up on that and pretty much drops the first word, right? So it's going to go on. Right. So we'll say longevity, or any term you want to use.
Yeah, pro-longevity, pro-vitality. And as I started thinking about this more, I was like, longevity really fails to capture the imagination. Like, when people think about longevity, honestly, they think about being old and sick longer.
Yeah.
Why do I want that? That's not something I want. No. Or longevity is for those seniors in the AARP commercials, right? Like, they're the ones who are eating blueberries and stuff. Good for them.
I like blueberries.
That's not for me.
My AARP renewal just came in today. It's great. I saved 20% on hotels.
You're too young for that.
That's right. I am. Damn it. All right. So go on. No, I have more commentary on this. You keep going. This is a great topic.
So we're not anti anything. We're pro vitality and pro longevity. And again, longevity, I think, is the kind of thing that doesn't really get people fired up. Let's be honest. Right. Because you think about just dying slowly and unhealthfully.
Yeah, we think of a 100-year-old person as being, there's Aunt Mary, she made it to 100. Like, okay, that's great, that's impressive, but you're right. We think about it as old.
Yeah, I would recommend anybody watching to go look up Sylvester Stallone currently.
Yeah,
take a look at him and look at his vitality and how he looks.
Yep.
And then pull up an image of any other man that's his age, and you tell me who's killing it.
Yeah.
So it's totally possible, right? It's totally possible if, as you say, you change your mindset around this stuff, right? So that you embrace so that the elder years, right, are not this acceptance of your decline, like that you imagine, oh yeah, I got to save up a bunch of money so I can be put in elder care one day.
Yeah.
No, why don't you take that money or some portion of that savings and bring it into today and maximize your health span, which is the combination of the length of your life, right, and how strong and vital you are. No one wants to live longer if your vitality sucks.
Yeah, not lifespan, health span. That's a great term. I know that's in the book already, so that's good. Yeah. You know, and one of the things as during that, when we were doing that interview,
I started getting obsessed with health span.
Yeah,
and,
that's good.
And so I wanted to hit every area. So from your mental functioning, not just maintenance, right? Not just avoiding decline, absolutely doing that, but also nootropics, better focus, better grit, better emotional well-being, all of those things. And I guess I just, at a certain point, I just started believing that there's stuff out there that I could find.
The reason the placebo effect works is because the biggest organ and the most powerful one in our body is our brain. I'm sorry. Like, if you actually believe something, it pretty much directs the whole shooting match, right? I mean, when we talked about the longevity thing and the health span thing, when we did that chapter, I said, okay, Sky, what's your target? How long do you want to live to? And you said, without blinking, you said 140. Right? And anybody else would tell me that, I go, okay, good luck with that. But knowing you and after what we've done together, I'm like, I didn't hesitate. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And here's the magic, right? Because up until that point, you know, I'm in my late 50s, and I'm thinking, oh shit, you know, more years behind me than ahead of me, until that chapter. As soon as you said that, this wave of belief, whatever, I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to 120. I don't think I do 140 because I got a little late starter than you, because the 20% thing, you know, I understand the math on that.
A little later.
Nah, it's all right. But now I'm like, oh, I am midlife. It's halfway there. Yeah. And I believe it so much. I've been telling my family, oh, my birthday this year, I'm going back. I'm not celebrating this number. I'm going back one. Yep. And they're laughing at me like, no, I'm serious. I really am. If I could change my birth certificate, I would. I can't do that, but I'm like, no, it's BS. You know, we have the proof of this already in what I've done, right? We showed the picture here.
Absolutely.
I'm showing a picture of me from last year. We got right on the screen right now is a picture of me from when we got started, right? At March of 2019, when there's a Marshmallow Man. I'm showing the picture on the screen right now. And then in just 4 months, you know, the picture you saw earlier. So yeah, it's you did that. And that, by the way, folks, that's with working out about 10 minutes a day at that time. I'm doing a lot more now, but when I got started with you, yeah, what'd you call me? Not the marshmallow, you call me like
you're melting.
Melting. I was melting, right?
Yeah.
Gravity and the excess fat, visceral and otherwise, was like making me turn into like the pyramid of a human being. It was like, ugh. And you know,
your energy was low too, man.
What?
Your vitality was low.
Yeah.
You're totally different now.
Right. Yeah, for sure. We'll talk about that next time. But the thing is, that was the jump start for me. It wasn't the end all be all. I wasn't finished at that point, but I'm like, whoa, this is like a reset button, you know? It's like, whoa, this reset me with the whole stack that we got on, a little bit of working out, and that motivated me to change my diet, exercise more, do functional training, do fitness training. And like my son told me, he's like, Dad, don't work out, train like an athlete. I'm like, oh man. That mindset shift also made me go, well, I'm going to go an extra 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I went from banking half an hour a day to 2 hours a day with HIIT training to boot. So I'm like, and one more thing. Okay, folks, I got to keep going. I'm sorry. I know this is supposed to be a conversation, but I had severe tennis elbow. And you reminded me just a few weeks ago, Doug, how's your elbow? Like, oh, that's right. You fixed that too with that stack, right? Precision supplementation, folks. Yeah. And then I had high blood pressure. I mentioned this before. You were not too keen on it, but I talked to my sister, who's a nurse practitioner and all that, and she checked my blood pressure, and her eyes bugged out. Holy crap, Doug! It's something over like 97. It was not good. You gotta get some onto medication. I'm like, well, let me see what I could do with and like 4 or 5 months later, like nothing. But through a proper diet, exercise, I did it yesterday. Is down to whatever 140 something over 81. So like,
oh good,
fixed.
You're fine.
Yeah, but that's a big deal.
So, folks, severe tennis elbow, he couldn't lift 30 pounds. He was like, I said, you're going to have to do resistance training. That's one of the things you have to do. You didn't really do resistance training. You're like, I can't lift 30 pounds. Yeah. And I said, I don't think this is going to be a problem 6 weeks in. It's mostly inflammation. It's going to go away with the stack. And you're like, I've had injections. I've had physical therapy.
I did. Obviously, the cortisone thing was just for that was the wrong timing. It was like 6 weeks too late. Then I was in Mexico and I did a PRP injection. Right, I did a lot of shit on this elbow. I really tried to fix it up, and it got to like 70% or so, but nothing breached that up to 100% until your stuff. I'm like, yeah, I can bench press whatever I can do, and I can lift weights, and that's like totally normal.
It's kind of like gardening. I mean, this is a weird analogy, but just let me say this: like, so if you keep the garden healthy, right, just by fertilizing it and making sure that it's watered, a freaking schedule, it's not going to get fungus, it's not going to get pests, it's not going to get sick. Yeah. Like it's just, right. So but just by making you healthier, all these different little aches and pains go away, right?
Right.
And one of the things that I think that people that have accepted the aging trance do when they're in their late 40s, early 50s, and they're really starting to feel age, because they've accepted aging, they accept these little aches and pains too.
Yeah.
Yeah. They go, oh well, it's part of aging. You accept that your sleep is not as good. You accept that your sexual vitality and libido are decreasing. No. You accept that that your body fat is increasing. You accept all these things, it's a huge amount to accept.
Yeah.
And they're just little things that seem small when you accept them, but they all add up to Marshmallow Man in the end. Like they all add up to where you don't want the direction that you don't want to go.
Right.
And so by taking responsibility for your health after you end the aging trance, then suddenly you have to address every single one of these little things, because you're playing whack-a-mole. You're not gonna let these things slow you down.
Right.
Right. I mean, what did you do? Was it 3 months after you went to Muay Thai training?
Yeah. That was a few things happened there. I had ACL surgery and meniscus tear on my right knee. When was that? I don't know, like 4 years ago or so. 2 years of limping around, therapy from the White Sox doctor did the surgery. I went to great therapy, nothing. I was an old man limping around. I'm like, oh, this sucks. And I had an energy healer work on my knee, to be honest. He was the one that got me the reset, got it going. But to actually get to the point where I can, throw a kick at a bag, and my son was like, good kick. My son's a boxing trainer. I went to a Muay Thai class in Thailand, and I'm walking to all these 30-year-old men and all these ripped guys. I'm like, I think I'm the oldest guy here, and I'm like, oh, well, I held my own. It was a 2-hour work.
Just fun, man. You fucking did that.
Yeah, 2-hour workout for a whole week. It was rough. But the most fun I had, though, there was one guy who was about 5 years younger than me, looked 10 years older, to be as modest as I can say. He was, big fat guy. A little taller than me, easily 50 pounds on me, and we're sitting there doing a little bit of sparring. And he was being nice. He was only 30%. And I said, by the way, what do you do? He goes, oh, I'm a cop. I'm like, oh my God. I had so many donut jokes ready for him, right? But I didn't do it. But I didn't do it because he had gloves on and we're sparring, so I had to be nice. I said, hold on a second. Let me just throw a couple punches here. Boom, boom. Okay, good. Because what was that for? I said, I always want to tell people I hit a cop. Yeah, I had a fight with a cop. That's my story. I'm going to stick to it. He's a good guy. Yeah, the person who actually gave me a bloody nose was this gorgeous German girl. I was like so afraid to hit her, right? And we're supposed to be at 30% power, and she goes, pop! I'm like,
why'd you do that?
What? I said, what? I thought we had 30%. She says, that is 30%. It's like, okay.
I was too busy checking you out.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's another story. But yeah, I guess that cultural thing. So anyway, yeah. So thank you. It was you were the reset button for my health, or certainly my longevity, my vitality. Do you know how many research papers you've read? If you had to count or guess?
Probably 4,000 or 5,000.
Now listen to that, folks. I'm going through the book Outliers again about people's expertise and excellence and stuff, right? The average expert spends an extra 10,000 hours in their field of study, all right? You've read, and you didn't, I mean, it just came pretty quickly to you, 4,000 to 5,000 research papers, which I'm telling you, I talk to people about you and all that. I'm like, well, I'm really good friends with a scientist. I call you a scientist, because dude, I mean, you're being really good today. You're not using many big words. I appreciate that.
I'm trying.
You can let a few fly. Let people know how smart you are. It's okay. But
I want to talk a little bit about your genomics. I thought that was really
we'll go back to the precision thing is because one thing that I realized we were talking about when the pandemic came out and people were talking about immune system stuff. You said, well, it's not the same for everybody. Depending on your genetic type, maybe you shouldn't take too much vitamin D and whatnot. Talk about the precision side of your supplements when it comes to genomics. Let's hear about that. And you can use all the big words you want.
Okay, yeah. So can I talk about you a little bit? Is that okay?
Sure. That's fine.
No, I won't reveal anything too much, but there's a funny story here. All right. I hope you're okay.
About how I'm smarter than most people?
Well, you are. That's cool. That's nice. But yeah, so one of the things that I found when I was looking into your genes was I found this that you don't process something called polyaromatic hydrocarbons very well.
Yeah, those polyaromatic carbohydrates. Damn those things.
Yeah, so there's a big word. What that really is burned protein or burned shit in general. Burned things.
I had this grill by the pool. I was grilling steaks like every week out there. You ruined my life.
Yeah, there were two. You have two genes. One causes you to break it down the wrong way, which makes it more carcinogenic, the metabolites. Yeah. And secondly, your body doesn't clear it quickly. So burned shit, smoking is bad of all kinds.
I don't smoke. I don't smoke any kind of anything.
Okay. You sure?
No, I don't smoke any kind of anything.
Edibles.
I don't smoke. I don't put smoke into my lungs.
Good.
I heard you say they were edibles. I know what you're talking about.
So we found this out, and carcinogenic, right? And Doug's great. He has very few risk factors. He's very much got the superhuman genetic profile, except for this one thing. Wait a minute. There's a superhuman genetic profile. Can I be like Wolverine now? What's a superhuman genetic profile? I'm curious. Oh, okay. So like the stuff you really want. Yeah. Is like. She's over in the Philippines. Yeah, her. The stuff you really want in your genes is natural longevity. So there's a gene called FOXO3, which governs something called apoptosis, which is when the cell dies. Okay. When it's programmed cell death. And there's a certain variant of FOXO3 that causes increased apoptosis, which is, it sounds bad. Like, why would increasing cell death be a good thing? Yeah. But the reality is you have all these zombie cells, all these cells in your body. They're called senescent cells that don't do their jobs anymore. They're just like on welfare. They've quit, right? Yeah. And instead what they do is they send out toxic molecules into your body. Bastards. Right? And the apoptosis mechanism that causes the cell to die, right, is what clears those guys out. Right? So you'll live longer if you clear out the senescent cells of your body. How do I do that? Bunch of them. Well, how do you do that? You have to have the right genetics. That's it? Well, I mean, I've got some other solutions that are. But I'm naturally clearing out these bad boys. You have a very good FOXO3. You have a good variant of the FOXO3 gene. I have a good FOXO3 gene. All right. The other one is MSOD, which is superoxide dismutase. So I've read about that. You produce 40% more. Which is basically your body produces two kinds of antioxidants, glutathione and superoxide dismutase. Those are the front line. See, guys, I told you he was smart. Yeah. Well, you produce 40% more superoxide dismutase than a normal person. I produce 40% more. See, why don't I have the claws like Wolverine then? Why doesn't that happen? Well, I have those two features too, so I'm pretty psyched. Like when I saw my genes, I was like, yes. Okay, so what do these FOXate genes do? The super ones. The Fox. I told you what the Fox. I'm sorry, the second one. I'm guessing at my terms. The ones for MSOD. Yeah, MSOD. You just increase your body has more superoxide dismutase, so that what that does is that stops oxidation. What's wrong? What's bad about oxidation? Oxidation basically causes mutations, causes cells to go bonkers. So I'm not going to be a mutant then, is what we're saying. Right, exactly. You're a good mutant. They're mostly good. I mean, they go back and forth, but all right. So I'm not going to mutate. All right, forget the Wolverine thing. I want to go back to that. All right. Think about the polyaromatic hydrocarbons thing. So I told you to stop eating barbecue,
right,
avoid smoking, and not spend too much time in London.
And where?
Because diesel smoke.
Diesel.
Bad for you.
Oh, I canceled my my engineer career. I'm not on the train anymore, so I'm not doing or trucking thing. That's out. Oh, what about aviation fuel? Is that bad? Like the smell of like kerosene. Is that bad?
Just don't breathe burn shit. That's all.
Okay. No, I haven't grilled a steak since we met. Thank you very much, Sky.
I'm really sorry about that.
It's all right. I got a frying pan.
It's saving your life.
It's worth it. It's worth it. It's all right.
And then the other thing that we saw, if I can tell you about this, was that she had 50 times chance of testicular cancer.
Yeah, I know. They're just big. I can't help it.
So, but think about I love this story because think about the combination of those two things. Like when I told you, I was like the good news and the bad news.
I can't grill steaks and your balls are gonna fall off. Okay, thank you very much.
if you eat too much barbecue,
your balls are mutating into mystique. All right. So yeah, testicular cancer. Watch my balls. What does that mean? I mean, what do I do?
But the thing is, like, you don't have a family history of it, right?
No, I don't think so. No, it's mainly we have like a lot of colon issues. I get colon screens every 5 years for the colon cancer thing. Yeah.
But so now, because we did your screening, right? You know to avoid the barbecue and smoke, and then you also know to check your balls for nodules, right? So that you
I'm supposed to check those. You didn't give me the video. You didn't give me the video on that. I'm supposed to check my testes for nodules.
Yeah, I told you to go to the cancer to like cancer website. I can't remember the one.
I don't remember this. I don't remember this discussion. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm glad we're having this discussion. So
yeah, I'm sure everybody wants to know about my balls. So let's go ahead and go through it. It's okay.
Yeah, learn how to do self-examination, right? So I mean, I think that's what's useful in like precision medicine isn't just which medications to avoid, which ones work better for you, right. You know, all this other stuff, you know, what diet is ideal for you, what protein, all this other stuff. But a lot of it is also knowing what's going to kill you or what could kill you.
Right.
And that's terrifying for most people. They don't want to know. The
biggest thing that kill me is that excessive inspection of my balls, I think, could be deadly, you know, if I get too familiar
Depending on who's doing it.
Exactly. Well, you know, it's we know the answer there right now in this time, pandemic time.
Somebody used some big words, so I did.
Yeah.
But I can back off that.
You could just mix them up. I'm not going to remember any of them, but it does always impresses me. But I'm still worried about the second gene, the one that's 40% more. What does that do for me? Since I'm not going to mutate, does it do anything or just doesn't do something?
Talk about oxidation a little bit. This is critical.
Yeah.
Right. So inflammation, right, is the body's immune response. Like when you have low-grade immune response all the time. So people say, "Oh, I have inflammation."
Yeah.
Most people don't really know what that means. You know, it's like, am I swelling?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's going on, right?
Yeah.
But inflammation is basically your body at a systemic level activating a low-grade immune response constantly.
Mm.
And it's one of the chief things that ages you rapidly.
Yeah.
Having lots of oxidation in your body, right? So your body, you breathe in oxygen,
right?
And your body uses that to create energy in the cellular process.
Yeah.
The byproduct of that, your body then takes that oxygen and combines it with carbon so that you exhale CO2. So the oxygen is contained with carbon. It doesn't react with it. It's supposed to not react with anything else.
Right.
But what happens actually is down inside the cell, those oxygens sometimes slip out of the power plant. And they wreak havoc and run around to cause problems.
That's why they suggest these vitamins are called antioxidants, I'm guessing.
That's right.
See, I got one right. All right.
You got one right, yeah. So these antioxidants, resveratrol.
Even though we don't like the word anti, we'll use it for this. Yeah.
Yeah,
this case
just for this. Yeah. But, you know, resveratrol from red wine, people have heard of as an antioxidant. Oh, blueberries you're supposed to eat. So
no, I've been taking this resveratrol from a friend of mine from Shackley. It's called Vivix. I'll have to send you the label on it. It's equivalent to like I don't know, like 50 glasses of wine or something. You take 1 tablespoon, and it's no alcohol, of course, but it's like really super enriched resveratrol. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, so what you want to do is you want to knock down that oxidation, which is escaping into your body and causing havoc.
Yep.
What happens when it does that is your body mounts an immune response and you get inflammation, which then can lead to heart disease, cancer, neurological decline, all kinds of things. So you want to reduce oxidation to decrease inflammation.
Got it. Okay.
So your body naturally produces 40% more of your own natural frontline antioxidant. So there's definitely a superpower there, no question.
Yes, I'm antioxidants. Okay.
Yeah, and there's also the other variant of the gene, which I've seen in some people where they produce 30 to 20% less superoxide dismutase, which is, I hate to break the news, but
and they would just require in their stack more of the antioxidant stuff that you put in there, I'm guessing, right?
With the superoxide dismutase, it's difficult because there isn't a superoxide dismutase supplement that works really well.
Okay.
I've been investigating it, and there's some options, but they're expensive and tricky to work with. But
wow, that's version 3.0 for your company. Then we'll have to get some scientists to develop that for us. That sounds like it's important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other one that we enhance is glutathione dramatically. So the stack that you take every day and I take every day, there's two things in it that dramatically increase your production of glutathione, which is the other antioxidant that your body uses.
Okay.
And so overall, what happens is over time your inflammation goes down.
Yeah.
Same thing with you take curcumin, which is turmeric.
Yep.
There's a bunch of other things that you start taking, and what happened? The reason why your tennis elbow got better is because the inflammation went away. That was it. We just killed the inflammation. It got better. Because the tendon sliding through the sheath was inflamed.
Yeah.
And it kept hurting every time it went through that sheath.
Yeah.
And once the inflammation went away, it started sliding normally. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, appreciate it. Man, I don't know where else to go. There's so much. We're gonna have you on a second time for sure.
Okay.
Because we got to talk about the sex thing. I'm not sure if I'm prepared to talk about it right now, but I know that I've talked to some of your other clients, and last year when I'm starting with you, I'm like, oh yeah, this is special.
Talk about it though. You're just gonna tease.
I have to tease the next show. So guys, there's a lot of things here in your midlife that change and shift. And the biggest one's mindset. I'm gonna tell you, no matter what, if you believe you're gonna retire or get old, guess what? You're gonna retire and get old and die the same age your dad did. My dad's still 95 and he still cracks jokes, so I plan on keeping him going as best we can. But the mindset is super critical. You know what? Let's just real quickly let people know that we got some stuff for them today. I got a link here. I want people to go on and take a look at. Here it is. If you go to dougcrow.link/super, it's right there on the screen. Right there. Beep. Sky's put together a very short but powerful checklist, a blueprint on becoming superhuman without the mutations, right? Live longer, increase your health span, increase your vitality, increase your brain function. Is there anything that doesn't do? I mean, my good Lord, we've got like brain function, health, vitality, reduce inflammation. There's so much stuff that's going on here.
Every single area is not safe from me. Anything that's causing aging is going to get addressed in some way. I'm going to find whatever the best thing is available right now and give it to my clients.
Right.
A good example is cancer, right? How do you prevent cancer? Number one, know what cancers you're susceptible to from your family history or your genetics, right?
Yeah.
And then screen for those, either a self-test or annual screen, right? When you get there, right?
Yeah.
But also include something that's very special in your stack and mine for cancer.
Yeah.
And it's from a Chinese root called astragalus, and it's been used by the Chinese for thousands of years to promote longevity. Well, there's a compound in there called cycloestrogenol, CAG, right? That lengthens your telomeres.
Oh, yes.
I'm not going to go into that too much.
No, you can. I heard about telomeres before I even met you. There's some stuff on that I actually read. Right. I know that big word.
Okay, so your watchers are familiar with chromosomes and the process of cell division, right? So cells, each cell in your body has to divide, and then, eventually one of them dies, and it keeps dividing, so you stay the same, right? But your body is shedding cells all the time because it's creating new ones. Every time a cell divides in your body, it has to the machinery has to grab onto the bottom, the tip of the chromosome and pull it apart.
Right.
Right. And then copy it and put it in two different cells. Well, every time that machinery grabs the bottom of the chromosome and tears it apart, there's it grabs onto something called the telomere, right? And the telomere has basically base pairs that are tips. And each time it grabs onto it, it breaks off one of the tips. So it gets shorter and shorter every division. And so one of the things that was discovered is that in the human body, most cells can divide about 50 times before they reach the Hayflick limit, which is they run out of telomere room. So the machinery can't grab onto the chromosome anymore.
Yeah.
So it can't divide. And then what happens is it sits there and gets, if it doesn't blow up with apoptosis, programmed cell death, it sits there and spews out toxic chemicals, right? So one of the things that you want to do is you want to lengthen the telomeres so that your cells can keep dividing.
Okay.
And cycloestrogenol miraculously does that. So, and why does this pertain to cancer? Because one of the main causes of cancer actually is inflammation, of course, but also critically short telomeres.
Oh, I didn't know that. Because
your body bungles it. Your cells bungle the division.
Yep, turns into something that doesn't like and whatever.
Yeah, so critically short telomeres are a huge risk factor for cancer and also heart disease because critically short telomeres actually increase inflammation. Okay, so
Okay.
Yeah, so it's deep, right? There's a lot that goes into it, right? So, I mean, there's so many things too, like psychologically. We go, okay, so what else is declining? My hormones are declining. What else is declining? Well, your dopamine is declining, which is your motivation, your drive.
Right.
Even your serotonin levels are declining, right? And so all those things need support. And I don't think that the right move is to wait until they're super low and you catch Parkinson's disease, right? I don't think that's the right move. And then to take dopamine agonists after that to try to improve the function. It's a lot better to try to protect your dopamine receptors along the way. And then also take something called muciniprurens, which is a dopamine precursor. So for you, I increase your dopamine. You're in your late 50s.
Yeah.
And so you take levodopa, which increases your dopamine levels. So part of the reason why you have more drive and feel better is because you're taking dopamine.
I'm a dope addict. I'm a drug addict now.
How do you know?
I'm a doper. How do you know that all these things work together? Like there's nothing going against each other on all the stuff on this stack. Because when I first showed somebody my stack, like you got like 30 pills in there, Crow. I'm like, yeah, I know. My I don't know what I call you, my health coach, but my scientist gave it to me. It's like, how do you know they don't interact in a bad way together?
That's a great question. And I would say, how do we know that, all kinds of medications don't interact with each other in a bad way, right? I think that it's impossible to say. I mean, I've had clients come to me and be like, okay, so for this stuff, is there a longitudinal study? What about 10 years? I'd be like, pharmaceuticals in the U.S. get approved with about a year worth of results. Why are we applying a standard that's so high? I think to answer your question specifically, each of the supplements go on different metabolic pathways, right? So they're not. So it's, for example, like you take large doses of fish oil.
I do.
Omega-3 fatty acids, and that helps to build up your brain matter and keep it protected. And there are no contraindications with taking tocopherol or vitamin E for almost any other system in your body. Right. I think there are a few supplements that I'm very careful with. One of them is vitamin D, which you mentioned. Earlier.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah. So vitamin D is also called calciferol, and it's based on a calcium molecule. And your body metabolizes vitamin D by turning it into various forms of calcium citrate, which is then eliminated by the kidneys.
Well, I see where this is going.
I've had clients who are both vitamin D deficient and have problems metabolizing vitamin
calcium,
D.
Yeah.
And so what happens is they go into the doctor and they've got all these aches and pains and issues, and doctor's like, I think you might be low vitamin D. They test the vitamin D. Great. Let's give you super doses, mega doses of vitamin D, and we'll make you better. Bad idea if your body doesn't metabolize vitamin D properly. And you wouldn't know that. There's no way for a doctor to know that unless you did your genomic analysis. So I had one client that had both of these issues. And so I went deeper and I said, well, you've got to take magnesium threonate at the same time, because magnesium threonate is a cofactor of vitamin D.
Amazing.
So, and we also nailed her dosage. So she's not taking mega doses of vitamin D, which her body could turn. Her dad had
so it's like time release or something?
Yeah. When I told her about this, she was like, oh my God, my dad has kidney stones. Right?
Ta-da.
Yeah. So, and it's it's very likely because of the fact that his body doesn't process vitamin D properly. Wow. And so I was like, you can't be taking mega doses of vitamin D because you'll get kidney stones.
Yeah.
Right?
So go ahead.
I mean, it just goes on and on. I mean, I'll tell stories because this is good. Another client, when I started with him, he was like, my body just hurts, man. It hurts. He's like, I'm getting old. I'm like, how old are you? 43. I'm like, dude, come on.
Here, Sylvester Stallone. Just shut up. Here we go. Here's the picture. Shut up.
Right? And he's like, my knee hurts. My muscles hurt. And so I got into doing his genetic analysis, and I found that he had problems with the statin metabolization gene. Statins, people are probably familiar with Lipitor, kinds of statin drugs, right, as a class that lower cholesterol.
Yep. And
I was like, the symptoms that he had seemed very, very likely to be related to excess statins in his body causing muscle damage. Because he had these problems processing statins. I called him up. I was like, hey, man, are you on statins? Because it seems that you've got that these muscle pains you're getting could be from this problem.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, my doctor put me on statins. I was like, well, what's your cholesterol? 200. I'm like, can you go back to your doctor and have a chat about that? Because I think you're getting serious side effects.
Yeah.
I mean, constipation, calcification of the knees, muscle tissue death. Right? And seriously, once he went off the statins and got on the stack, like, again, all of his problems went away within a few weeks.
Amazing.
It was like, how could he have known that the statins were causing all these problems if we hadn't looked at his genes and found out that he has a problem processing statins?
That is so amazing. This the genetic testing on what you do. That, I mean, people just don't understand that. Oh, just take your vitamins. It's like, go. I don't know. It's weird. It's like everybody has a different car. Everyone's unique, but we don't treat medicine uniquely. We treat it generically. It's just weird if you think about it. Again, it goes back to what's worked in the past or has not worked in the past. We just look to that. Versus look at the future, like, well, we've mapped the human genome. Why not use it to our advantage now? I mean, it makes so much sense.
I had a client who had breast cancer. Right? She recovered.
Yeah, good.
They wanted to put her on tamoxifen, which decreases your estrogen.
Right.
She didn't do it. Looking at her genes, she has 54 times increased chance of venous thrombosis, which is blood clot causing heart attack or stroke, if she takes tamoxifen.
Jesus Christ. I can't talk about this one.
I was like, I called her up. I was like, I know you have breast cancer. Tell me you didn't take tamoxifen. She didn't. I was like, thank God. Yeah. So, but people know that medicine can make you sick, right? People know that. People know there's side effects, but they think, oh, well, we'll just roll the dice and it'll, maybe I'll be all right. The problem is sometimes you don't even know that you're doing damage to yourself when you're taking medicine.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing I'm learning from this conversation, again, I learn something every time we chat, is not just the precision medicine, but when you nip things in the bud, when you do it early, you don't need this crap later on in life. I mean, I got to check my balls. I get that. There's no supplements for that. I just got to get them checked. Right. How often do I got to check them? Or have someone check them? I would say,
look, I think you should look that up. I'm not a doctor.
Again,
I can tell you to check it out.
Good point. Remember, he's not a doctor. There's no medical advice. This is my scientist friend. My health consultant, my longevity advisor, who's probably smarter than most physicians in this space anyway, as far as I'm concerned. Because I got a chance to meet a bunch of them at that conference we all went to. And a lot of them talk like you, but quite frankly, let's be really honest, okay? And this is an absolute judgment. I don't care that I am. None of them looked like you. And I have a friend. I did his book years ago. He's a trainer, a physical trainer, in Orange County, and he won a fitness building competition at 60. Right, he's really super sharp built guy, and he's talking to this group of all male doctors at this conference once. He's talking about, exercise, posture, all the, the critical functional things you do for your body, whatnot. The guys are like, all these doctors are going, He says, hold on a second. All you guys, stand up. They all stood up. There's 50 guys in the room. He said, okay, everybody, take off your shirt. And all these doctors took their shirts off. He says, now, everybody look around. They all look around. He says, you are the walking billboard of health for your patients.
Oh.
And I'm sorry. My doctor here in Charleston, he's cut. He looks good. And when I met him, I'm like, you're my doctor.
Good.
I don't need he's smart. He talks like you, right? He looked at your whole thing. He's like, but he's my doctor because he's in good shape. Anybody comes to me who's not in good shape, gives me health advice, I go, what?
What?
How can I believe you? You may be the most well-read person in the world, but if you don't take the action, you're just book smart. Is that smart? No, that's just knowledge. That's not wisdom, in my opinion.
I also think, I talked to a lot of doctors at the A4M conference too. It was the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine conference where we met. Right. And I talked to a lot of doctors there and told them what I was doing. I thought they were going to look down on me and snub me. Right. And they were like, oh man, I wish I could do that. But it's just too much. I've got too much liability. I got people, threatening to sue me for everything. So I can't recommend supplements even because.
But they can prescribe drugs, but not natural supplements.
They have to be very careful.
Okay, this is another topic. We're going to add this to the next show because we don't have too much time left. But think about that statement. They can prescribe without fear of liability chemicals to inject in your body with known side effects, but natural supplements they're liable for if somebody says, "Oh, I'm whatever."
Right. They can. You know what doctors will tell you to take? Vitamin C.
Yeah. Right.
They'll say vitamin E. They might say vitamin D. Right. Yeah. They'll tell you to take vitamins because they're vitamins. Right.
Yeah.
Should be okay. No one can come back on for that. Right. But they're not going to tell you to take
turmeric.
They're okay they make to tell you to take turmeric. That's okay too.
All right.
But you might not. But they're not going to say take alpha GPC and huperzine and some of the radically weird stuff or magnoliol. Some of the stuff that you take, they won't recommend these things. They don't.
Magnoliol, man. I maybe that sounds like a alien drug. Magnoliol. That's amazing stuff.
The active ingredient is called hinokiol, and what it does is it decreases inflammation in your brain.
Oh.
Is
this why that genomic test that came out that I'm like what % smarter than average? What was that? Like 15% smarter or something like that?
About 15%, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Smarter than the average person? Or the average person like in like, West Virginia? I mean, it's a difference. You got to have a baseline. I'm just asking.
I don't know.
No disrespect my friends in West Virginia. I have a couple friends here. I had to pick a place. That was first kind of mind. Sky, man, there is so much we want to cover. We're definitely going to do this again for sure. Okay. Guys, get this checklist. There's no cost to you. Let me put it up on the screen again. Go to dougcrow.link/super. Sky's got a 7-point checklist with 7 points under each 7 points. There's probably 49 points there. Things you can do, think, and be to increase your vitality, live a longer, healthier life, increase your health span. And he's taking limited engagements. I know this for a fact. Limited engagements to actually do consults for you. You also offer genetic testing, I know, because we did mine. And it's not just, here's your report. How much time did we spend going through it? 45 minutes or so? Walking through it, almost an hour.
23 slides, right?
Yeah.
And that was just those are the most relevant issues. You also have like 65 pages of material that if you wanted to delve into, you could.
All I remember was I got to check my balls, and I'm 15% smarter. Those are the two things that pulled away from it. I don't have to read, So I even forgot about the ball checking thing. So I got to go back.
Maybe we should go over it again sometime.
I have the video. I can pull the video up, but we can go over it again. Yeah, maybe I don't need to do that more than once. That's genetic. That's pretty much solid, right? It's just maybe next time I do my blood work, we can go over to that. Might be helpful. I don't know. Yeah. All right, guys. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean you captured the main points.
I did.
Yeah.
Can't grill Check your balls. You're gonna be a little smarter. You got great antioxidant stuff going through your body. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. Was there anything else on there? Do you remember?
Oh, and your main risk factor is heart disease, like me, which is beautiful.
It's weird though because nobody in my family has heart problems. It's pretty solid on the heart side.
Good.
Yeah.
Then,
I mean, my heart's a little bit pained right now, but that's because I'm trapped in. Yeah, I miss my girl. All right, man. Listen, I want to have you back. In the meantime, folks, please go to dougcrow.link/super. Get Sky's report, no cost, no obligation. He's got, I don't know how many spots you have available for an actual consult. I'm guessing less than 6 or so. So if you get that report and you see his phone number on there, I put your number like you asked. Okay. Don't call him. Just text him first. He's a busy guy. He's reading research report number 5,421. So give him a text, set up an appointment with him, and live longer, live healthier, live happier, and maybe you can grill steaks and I can watch sometime. I don't know. Best guy, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. We'll have you back on very, very soon. I promise you that.
Doug, it was a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.